Hi and welcome to the video. Seeing me on how to beat Pokemon Fire Red with only electric types was very interesting and brought a new perspective to monotype runs for me. Having absolutely no variety brings some big issues with it, and that's why I want to do an easy team challenge next. I want to find out, can I beat Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire with only normal types? Normal type Pokemon are basically the embodiment of the saying, Jack of all trades, master of none. They can use all powerful moves, but don't get the same type attack bonus on them to bring out most of the power. So, it's possible to beat the Pokemon challenge with it. But I don't have access to the good moves in the early game, so Roxanne might be very difficult to beat. And right after Roxanne is Brawly. That sounds very bad. However, I do get access to a lot of Pokemon right from the beginning. Before the first gym I can get Zigzagoon, Slakoth, Whismur, Skitty and Taillow. That's nearly a full team. This fact and the last run made me think about the rules, and I would like to add one more to reduce the amount of Pokemon I can use in battle. Anyway, let's talk about the rules. I can only use normal type Pokemon in battle. I can use other Pokemon for HM use, the run would be impossible without. I cannot use any items in battle besides Pokeballs. Held items are okay, I play on set mode. And as an additional rule, I can only use up to 4 Pokemon in battle. That way, I can reduce the amount of switches I can do and make it a bit more interesting. Maybe. The run should be possible, but the first gym will be brutal. And maybe the second one as well, if I don't outlevel it immensely. But let's begin. Oh, and please subscribe if you want to see more Pokemon runs in the future. The starter Pokemon in this game does not matter, since the rival is never an issue. If you don't play a Nuzlocke or something like that. I choose Trico, so that the rival is Torchic, potentially the worst starter for me. And the rival looks a little bit like May, who should have Torchic. Maybe the developer saw the cartoon back in the day, and that's why they look so similar. After talking to Professor Birch, receiving the Pokédex, some Pokeballs and talking to my mom, I can finally catch the first member of the run. And that is of course Zigzagoon. Butter, the Zigzagoon, has a brave nature, which means additional attack and lower speed. Not really my favorite, but it can work out fine. Abilities of course pick up, maybe I can get a good item or two in the run. Zigzagoons are one of the stronger normal types in the Pokemon franchise, even though they are mostly underrated. At Route 104 waits Braddy, the Taillow for me. I predict it to be one of the strongest Pokemon I can get in the run. It has an impish nature, which increases defense and lowers special attack, which is totally fine. Taillows aren't well known for being special attacker. Ability is Guts, one of the stronger abilities for sure. Maybe I can use some nice tricks later on, thinking about Facade here. Also, it is in an Ultra Ball. Usually you can't get any in the early game, but Butter was so nice to find one on the way to with pickup. In Petalburg Woods are wild Slakoth. I find one and add Potato to my team. The nickname didn't have anything to do with Slakoth's ability. Nothing. Pure coincidence. Anyhow, it has a bashful nature, which is a neutral nature. This may be one of the better natures, I think. Of course, it has a truant ability, the actually worst ability in the game. I'm not even sure if I should let it even evolve into its final form. That's how much I like that ability. Before challenging the first gym, there are 2 more encounters to get. One is Whismur, and Aggie has a naive nature, increasing speed while decreasing special defense. I'm totally fine with that. Soundproof ability is hard for me to evaluate, but let's say it's good enough. The last encounter is Skitty. It has an abysmal encounter rate and it took ages to find one, and they are usually not even good. But Milky the Skitty joins the party and has a modest nature. It increases special attack and decreases attack, which could actually be very strong in the late game. Q-Charm ability is nice, if it can survive some blows, which I'm not too sure of. I tried to train her right in front of Roxanne and the battle is very grindy. I can't really deal damage and the whole battle just looks easy to do because of Attract on Milky that won't work against the gym leader. I will win this battle, but it took a very long time. I'm not looking forward to Roxanne's team. But I do believe the strategy is fine, using Growls and Tail Whips to beat them. Problem is, I want to use Growl first, but Geodudes have Defense Curl. To deal a bit of damage, I have to get more defense drops than increases, and that means I have to tank a lot of hits. I'm not sure if that works out. The first battle against Roxanne was absolutely horrible. I can't deal enough damage with anyone on my team and get a lot of damage in return. I let Braddy in the box for this battle. I want to use maximum of 4 in this run. Anyway, the battle will go on for forever, and I'm not able to beat even Geodude. Granted, it was the first try and I made a lot of mistakes, but the end is pretty clear. I think even if played perfectly, I could only see Nosepass and lose to it. Geodude is at level 14, so I train up to 14 as well and see how far I can go then. At level 14 the battle was doable, but not enjoyable. Zigzagoon learned Sand Attack at 13 and my strategy revolves around that one move. Use Growl, use Sand Attack a bunch of times and then max out Growl and move on to dealing damage. I have 2 Pokemon that can use Sleep status in some form, but the battle takes an insane amount of time. When Geodude went down, I have a good amount of team left, but Nosepass is basically the same as Geodude. No, to be honest, I could have done the battle way easier if I didn't force the defense drops, which are not necessarily useless, but counterproductive. Every time I try to put it to sleep, they can harden, and every time I fail with Sing, there can be another harden. The strategy only works if it stays asleep way longer than I need to hit. That makes the battle so very annoying. Roxanne seems to have only 2 potions and used both on Geodude, so I just could have started the attack and won like 10 minutes earlier. That sounds like a joke, but I actually needed over 20 minutes for this battle alone. But hey, I won in the end, so it didn't matter. I'm not sure yet, but I think I won't show you the whole battle. It's rather pointless to be honest. In the end, it didn't really matter, I got the badge and can finally move on to the next part. While traveling to the next gym, it hit me. I thought fighting is very effective against normal, and that's true, most of the times. I somehow forgot that Brady's part flying and has a wing attack, which is super effective against Brawly's team. That pushes the battle from potentially hard to very easy. Maybe excluding flying would have been better, but it's too late now, and I roll with it. Also, I think I remove Milky the Skitty for now, because it actually is the weakest of my team. When I receive a Moonstone, I think about it again, but until then, I go with these 4. Ready, Butter, Eggy and Potato. I also taught Potato Cut. With only normal types, it's quite easy to use the HMs on my team instead of special HM worker. Eventually I need someone for Dive, but until then it's a long way to go. The next gym is first and let's see how I stand against it. Yes, just as I thought. Brawly is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Actually, that's not true, this is my second try. In the first one, Karate Chop from Machop, and then Arm Thrust from Magohita defeated Brady and my team wasn't able to push through. But this time, Magohita uses Bulk Up instead and I just win. Brawly is defeated and I can move on to the next challenge. The next strong opponent would be the rival. In hindsight, giving Torchic to the rival might have been a mistake, since it gains the fighting type. At first I thought that would make the battle harder in the future, but Brady is quite fast, hits very hard and is super effective. And don't forget Shroomish, also not very good against flying type. If the rival would be more used in the game, like in Fire Red and Leaf Green for example, this might have been a lot more interesting. The rival battle is very hit or miss, depending on the moves used. Weimar is really interesting, it could use Splash, which is the dream for Eggy. Hold boosts attack, but it doesn't work out as I intended it, going down to 2 water guns. I chose Butter next to KO the water type in some turns. That's important, I don't want to use Brady yet. I didn't realize Combustion to be that strong, and it KOs Butter easily. Brady is here to take it down and Wing Attack actually critically hits, while Combustion wastes a turn with Focus Energy. Quick Attack solves the issue in the end. Last is Shroomish, but Brady is ready to beat it as well. Not in one hit, and Stun Spore is quite annoying but didn't matter in this battle. The rival is defeated and it wasn't too bad. I had an idea that Brady might be very strong, but it slowly becomes the MVP of the run. And maybe here's a new MVP. Potato evolves into Vigoroth, finally removing the truant ability. And Eggy evolves into Loudred. It was quite weak before, I hope this changes it completely. I got one more evolution and that is Butter into Line Noon. I feel like this is the biggest upgrade after Vigoroth. I have a very good memories of Line Noons in the past, it's a great Pokemon. Wattson, I don't know what to do here. My team doesn't have a good move against Magnemite and Magneton. The best move I have is actually Rock Smash. The best run I had was with 6 defense drops on Magneton and I still lost, because Magneton's Shockwave can one-shot basically everyone in my team. Maybe there's a way to win here, but I don't see it, and try to level up some more. At level 22 the battle is doable, even if it's a bit iffy. I start with Potato to use Yawn, tank the Thunder Wave, and remove it with Cherry Berry, then proceed to switch into Butter, who also removes a one Thunder Wave paralysis with the Cherry Berry. I use Rock Smash until Magnemite is defeated, which takes some turns, but I got a few defense drops. Voltorb is next, and this is always very scary because it can use self-destruct. But in this try it didn't use it and Butter is still standing. Wattson's Ace Magneton is the real issue. Butter did all it was supposed to and used some Rock Smash in hopes of defense drops, which worked out nicely. I used Potato again, using Yawn and Slakoth to heal potential damage, which never came. When Magneton is asleep I can switch into Milky and use Tail Whips for multiple turns until Milky goes down. It took a lot of time until it is defeated, but it got a lot of Tail Whips off. No Potato again, and using Yawn I want to deal some damage this time. The idea was to let Potato go for Eggy, but Cut did a lot of damage, way more than expected, and Magneton got into healing range. So I just continued using Cut until Potato goes down, or Magneton is defeated. But I see another potion and after a while Magneton wakes up to beat Potato in the end. The HP is quite low and I can use Eggy in the end to deliver the finishing blow, defeating Magneton. That battle was crazy, but Wattson was out of Pokemon and that lets me use Rock Smash outside of battle, which is very important because I will get a lot of new stuff now. I wanted to use some good Pokemon again and Brady evolves into Swallow, one of the first good early game birds, right? On the way to the next gym I have several new Pokemon to get. One is Spinder. I have no idea how to really use it for now, but Toasty joins the team. It has a docile nature, which is neutral and has one of my favorite abilities, Own Tempo. It can't get confused, which is awesome. I play in Ruby because here is Zangoose available. And that is one of the stronger normal type Pokemon I have access to. Fruit has an Impish nature and adding defense by reducing special attack, which is okay, it's a physical attacker anyway. The ability is immunity, which is okay, but it is more a flavor ability since it's meant to be the counterpart to Viper, a poison type Pokemon. Maybe some of you didn't see that one coming, but Swablu is also part normal type. I can't evolve it since it loses its normal typing, but hey, I catch it anyway. Rise has a lonely nature, increasing attack while decreasing defense. Very fitting, because it will stay in the box and probably won't be used in this run. Sorry little one. Maxie is the Giovanni of Pokemon Ruby and this is the first battle against him. I used Brady first against Mightyena to check damage and it was absolutely abysmal, letting me switch into Butter. Butter can't beat Mightyena at this point, but I need some defense reductions. When Butter goes down, Brady comes back in to beat Mightyena with some wing attacks. Golbat is not very interesting to me. I don't have a good move against it, but Golbats don't have a good move against me either. So we trade wing attacks for some turns until Golbat goes down in the end. Lars Camerupt and I actually like that Pokemon quite a bit. But not in this one. It takes down Brady and I have to go for Potato and the true and tested technique of Yawn and Stall. Very amazing. Very strong. But it is what it is. It will take at least 2 more gyms before I can get the really good moves and start fighting by raw power instead of this. Way more grindy technique. Camerupt is defeated and Maxie is done. He will run away like every leader of any villain team does. And I can get the Meteorite. It's useless to me, but I can trade it for a TM27 return, the strongest normal type move, just behind Hyper Beam. Flannery is the next gym leader and I am quite underleveled, but I have a good strategy. I use Butter first against Slugma and use Headbutt, which flinches. This is a very good start and the first one is down. The second Slugma, second Headbutt and second flinch. I didn't plan for this, but I take it. No Torkoal. I can't use stat reduction abilities, so I just swing at it for some damage and Butter melted away against Torkoal's overheat. Potato is here and has Yawn. This might be a bit lame, but I don't care. Now the battle will evolve into a long and slow grind because I don't have a lot of firepower. Granted, I have mostly mid-range damaging moves. Torkoal is quite defensive and I am 4 levels lower. I should have used Fruit the Zangoose because it is Sword Stance, but it's too late now. It's a bit sad that my strongest move on Potato is Cut, with 50 base power. It's not even 100% hit. I will remove it once I get to the move deleter. There are a lot of good moves out there, like Secret Power or even better, Return. Well, the best move on Potato would actually be Hyper Beam when it is the Slaking, but that's still a long way. Anyway, Torkoal goes down and Flannery is out of Pokemon. I can finally face my real rival, the normal type gym leader Norman. The next part of the game is one of the most important ones in Ruby, Sapphire and Emerald. Beating the normal type gym lets you use Surf outside of battle. And there are a lot of side quests to do, which improves my team dramatically. For example, New Mobile City for Thunderbolt or the Abandoned Ship for Ice Beam. But for me, to beat the normal type gym with 2 Slakings, which are actually impossible to get at that level, I have a very nasty strategy in mind. The Pokemon developer were so nice to have a TM ready to grab right after Flannery, and that is TM06 Toxic. So I use Toxic, then I try to negate every attack Slaking has with Dig. That sounded very good to me at first, but it's so much easier to beat the normal gym. It's actually funny that I didn't realize it earlier. It is actually so easy. The only thing I have to do is train one of my benched Pokemon and train him in speed and attack. That's all I have to do. I hope it works out, but I will see. The battle wasn't as easy as I thought, but it is quite doable with the right tools. First is Slaking and I use Potato's Yawn. Usually Potato survives here, but this time a critical hit ended it on the spot. Now comes my weapon of choice, Fruit. I get a sleep and a loaf around turn, so I can use 2 sword stance. Slash deals over half, but that's a higher critical hit rate, so it might KO in one go sometimes, but not today. First Slaking goes down. Second Slaking is here and it could go for Focus Punch, which I rather see, but Facade nearly KOs, and Fruit survives to KO the big bad Slaking in 2 hits as well. Last Pokemon is Vigoroth and it is slower than my Zangoose and loses to a big boosted Slash in the end. Normal is defeated and I can finally get Surf and use it outside of battle to explore most of the region, getting the best items there are. The next key battles are one rival fight and the next gym. The next gym is actually kind of interesting. As it stands right now, Skarmory might counter my team alone. I can get Ice Beam and Thunderbolt right now, but my team is not specialized in a special attack. So Skarmory can survive one hit easily, but I'm not sure about Altaria. Being double weak is always very bad to begin with, but if it can survive one hit and use Dragon Dance, the battle might be over immediately. It will be interesting. Oh, and the last Pokemon to catch will be available then as well. Okay, one to catch and the other one is just given to me. I feel like Butter should have been only pushing special attack. Maybe it's not too late now, but the spot for special attack gives too much experience. So I will just overshoot the level in that case. I don't know what to do yet. Oh, and I would lose Dig as an attack, but I don't think it is valuable enough for later, besides maybe Magnetons. Funnily enough, even if it gains no attack anymore, it will learn Belly Drum later. With some setup, it could beat every trainer with just that one move. Okay, that's enough, let's move on to the next battles. In the weather station is Team Magma, and the final boss of this area is very weak. So I just run over her team and get another teammate, Castform. I can't give a nickname at this point, so it doesn't get one. It is adamant, increasing attack and decreasing special attack, which is the worst nature for a cast form. I won't use it in this one because it changes forms in battle and isn't a normal type anymore. Sorry for the cast form fans. Rival was very easy to do. I just used Fruit the Zangoose, pressed on Sword Stance and KO'd the team. Against Combusken I wasn't sure to use Slash or Quick Attack and thought Combusken is faster and would just KO Fruit in one go. Anyway, the rival is very weak, especially if you are more into the Kanto games, but there's a second rival in this game for that reason, I believe. Anyhow, the battle is done and I just go to get my last team member in this run. The last member of the run is Kecleon. I call it Biscuit and add it to my team. The nature is careful, minus special attack while special defense is increased. That is not so good, but is usable. I know I said I don't use Castform because of the ability to change typings, and I won't use Biscuit because I don't want to. I'm very happy with my team at the moment, but if there's an opening where Kecleon would be the winning piece, I might use it. Winona is a very interesting gym leader. I actually went out of my way to train Butter in the forbidden art of special attack, and here we go. Swallow has Endeavor and Quick Attack. I want to make it very hard for it to KO me, so I first use Surf to deal some damage and then KO with Thunderbolt. Not sure if a bolt alone would be enough. Everybody knows how Polypa works, using a Protect all day long until the electric type attack hits and then they are defeated. Skarmory can be a bit annoying, but it used Steel Wing instead of Sand Attack, which I really appreciate. Thanks Skarmory. Last is Winona's Ace Altaria and here's the real battle. Ice Beam didn't KO and it used Dragon Dance. This could be it and I lose. But after some hype potions the Earthquake comes out and Butter goes down to red HP and wins with another Ice Beam. That ending was insane. I thought a boosted Earthquake will take Butter out in one hit easily, but no. Winona is out of Pokemon and I can continue to the next part of the game. The rival is in front of the Lily Cove department store and I don't think anyone believes this might be a hard battle. Same strategy as before and then slice her up. I have to admit I'm always sad when doing this battle. The rival doesn't even have a fully evolved starter yet. That's crazy. I think they fixed that issue in the remakes, battling the rival again after the credits. Yeah, the rival wasn't an issue, but I like her anyway. The next gym is a psychic type gym. I can imagine them to be quite annoying with a lot of teams, but I have 2 Pokemon which are very strong here. And no, it's not Butterbit Surf. I think that one wouldn't even deal a lot of damage actually. And Solrock has Sunny Day, reducing the damage even further. Right after the gym will be a wild goose chase with the submarine, battling the leader of Team Magma for the last time. I'm not sure, but I believe my team is strong enough to face him anytime now. But the last gym might be an issue. Maybe I can go through it with the Yawn and Sword Stance play, but I'm not sure if that's enough anymore. If somehow anything goes wrong, I could think about using Return instead of Slash, but we will see. First I have to beat the next gym. Tate Liza is the only mandatory doubled battle in the entire game, which is crazy to me. It was a new mechanic back in the day. In Ruby they only have Solrock and Lunatron, which can be very annoying, but I have Brady with Steel Wing and Fruit with Shadow Ball. Both are super effective and together are about the health of one of those floating stones. I was like 5 or 7 level lower than them, but it worked out fine. With that done, there isn't much left to do before facing the real challenge of this game. The final battle against Maxi was quite easy with Fruit. First using Potato for Yawn, wait for Mightyena to fall asleep and then switch out into Fruit for some Sword Stance. I used 2, should be enough. Also Personberry equipped before Mightyena's Swagger or Crowbot's Confuse Ray. But it wasn't necessary. Everything goes down in one slash, which felt great to be honest. Every time you can get a Pokemon with a damage boosting move like Sword Stance, Dragon Dance or maybe even Core Mind, just use it. It doesn't look nice because I didn't struggle here at all, but you can blow through the team in no time. Max is defeated and I hope the last gym leader will have a similar issue. I don't know what to say. Wallace the water gym leader fell to the exact same strategy. It didn't even level up. Using Potato first, pressing Yawn, switching into Fruit with Personberry in case of Sweet Kiss or Water Pulse Confusion. Then using 3 Sword Stance. This wasn't the first try, I did 2 Sword Stance before and some of his team actually survived. So with the 3rd Sword Stance everyone goes down in one hit against the Zangoose's Slash. I know the next battles won't be as easy. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course, I tried a strategy, it's easy to do, and it's kind of fun to be underleveled and still destroying everyone in one hit. Anyway, I got all badges and can start the final stretch of the game. This is the point of the run where I usually try to get all necessary items or TMs I need to beat the game, but I actually got them on the way here. Most important TMs like Shadow Ball or Earthquake are basically on the way while doing the story. There's actually one more rival battle before the Elite 4 and I think he's on average one of the stronger ones. In my experience he only falls short because of the level. If you beat Wallace on point, you would be like level 43 or 44 usually. But Wally is just 2 levels higher than Wallace and that increase isn't that much considering you went through the victory road before facing him. Well, if you don't know he is waiting for you, you might have a team with way less PP or HP than necessary to win. Now that I think about it, this might actually be the reason why. Yeah, I feel stupid now. But let's battle the last rival in the game. Wally is the real rival in this game. I would have loved if he was featured a lot more. First is Altaria against Butter, and I'm faster with that level difference. That's interesting. Ice Beam hits and freezes. I'm lucky, what can I say? Wally has super potions which don't even fill Altaria up, so it's just 2 more turns until the Dragon Flying type is down. Delcatty is next and I want to see which move is used. Sing hits, which is bad, but doesn't matter too much. I switch into Fruit, the trusty Zangoose, and tank a Feint Attack which was like no damage. Brick Break hits big, but doesn't KO, and Sing misses. Just using Brick Break to KO the cat. Magneton is weak to fighting as well and Brick Break does over half while Supersonic misses. That was really good, I didn't give Zangoose any item yet. Another move and Magneton goes down as well. Wally shows Roselia next and it doesn't have any status move against my Zangoose, so I use 1 Sword Stance and then proceed to use Slash to KO Roselia in 1 hit. Last is Wallace Ace Gardevoir, but Shadow Ball is heavily boosted and the Psychic type doesn't like that. With that, Wally is out of Pokemon and defeated. I really like his team, but it fell short against a super powerful Fruit. Before facing the Elite 4, I want to grind some more levels. If I were to enter like this, I would be 20 levels lower than Steven's team. I'm pretty sure that would be impossible. So, Potato evolves into its final form Slaking. You could view it as a downgrade because of Truant, but I think it's fine and could beat 1 or 2 Pokemon like this. Last check for the stats before I enter the gauntlet to beat the Elite Four. I will use Yorn's Sword Stand strategy because let's face it, my team is very weak. I'm still down over 10 levels for the final fight and the team is very fragile. I could see beating the Elite Four like this, but I will lose to Steven. But let's find out. The first Elite Four member is Sidney and the first Pokemon is Mightyena with Sand Attack. That's a very nasty move for setup Pokemon. That's why I needed to fall asleep first and then switch into Fruit for 2 Sword Stances. It should be enough to KO the team. Mightyena woke up very early, which could have resulted in a problem, but my Zangoose survived with Citrus Berry and proceeds to KO the team. The last issue would be Shiftry with Fake Out, but it didn't critical hit and thus didn't KO. Sidney is defeated, but he is usually quite weak because most teams should have a counter against dark types. Now Phoebe could be an issue, or at least I thought it could be, but I didn't really understand how to handle her. The first Dusclops has Confuse Ray and Curse, so I put it to sleep before switching out, but just in case I got a Person Berry on Fruit. If Dusclops use Curse, I lose the battle every time. But it didn't, and I was able to move through the battle without any issues. Shadow Ball is physical in this game, that's very nice for Sword Stance uses. Phoebe the Ghost type trainer versus the normal type trainer, very unfair if you think about it. Unfortunately, Glacia is really bad against my team. It doesn't have relevant status moves I have to be scared of. And it's overall a very slow team. I don't want to get hit by Ice Beam and potentially freeze, so I let it sleep first, then switch out, use 2 Sword Stands and start the sweep. I can understand if this is a bit cheap, but the reality is that I want to beat the Elite Four, and this is the best way to do that. But let's say I didn't have Sword Stands on Zangoose, what then? I think I would level Butter up to 53 and use Belly Drum instead. It's actually way easier to set up. It can't use Brick Break, but I actually think Return deals more damage, so yeah, it wouldn't change much. Glacia is out of Pokemon, and maybe next time she could be more of a threat. Drake the Dragon type Elite Four member in the first time, my strategy didn't work out. Against Shelgon, the usual first Yawn, then loaf around, and after that a switch into Fruit to use 2 Sword Stands. But here happened something I didn't like. Rock Tomb hits and lower my speed. Let's check if I can still win. Shelgon goes down shortly after. Now comes Altaria, and it is faster using Dragon Breath for some damage but no paralysis, and I can hit with Slash to KO Altaria, so it's still okay. First Flygon and it uses Sandstorm, which doesn't do anything at first but can be annoying later on. Slash connects and the first Flygon is down. The second Flygon used Flamethrower and Fruit still survived to hit back and KO Slash. That is now very dangerous. Drake's Ace Elements is chosen last and Intimidate will be very strong. It uses Crunch and Fruit is defeated. That is bad. I chose Butter next because of Ice Beam, but the level difference is so high. Salamence hits Butter deep into the red and survives Ice Beam easily. Citrus Berry pushes it out of the healing range while it proceeds to KO Butter. This might be it. Potato is here and it's faster, hitting with Slash and KOs. For some reason I always think Slakings are very slow, but not this one. The Elite Four is done and let's hope the final battle will go well for me. This took many tries and I will show you one of them. Steven is the champion and his team is very strong. First up Skarmory and I use Yawn for a change. But this time I switched directly to Fruit and even negated a Toxic. Immunity was good for something. I need 3 Sword Stands in order to deal enough damage to any Pokemon of his team. Skarmory woke up and gets a defense boost of Steel Wing. That is the worst, but I hit critical with Brick Break and KO it that way. That was very lucky. Next is Armaldo and I got spooked because it survived a max attack Brick Break and hits back very hard. But I can now hit twice back with Brick Break to KO the Rock Bug type. That was really scary for a second. Now comes Claydol, but it is weak to Shadow Ball and with that boost it is gone in one go. Argon is usually very sturdy, but Brick Break hits for double weakness and is enough to KO it as well. The next fossil Pokemon is Claydol, but it is weak to Brick Break as well, so it is gone too. Last is Steven's Ace Metagross, and as you might have expected, Shadow Ball does not KO. In fact, it is just barely over half. Of course, Fruit the Zangoose is destroyed in retaliation, but it did its job. I teach Earthquake to Potato, and that is one move I will use now to defeat Metagross, the final boss of this challenge. Steven is out of Pokemon, giving his title Champion of Hoenn to me. Can I beat Pokemon Ruby with only normal type Pokemons? Yes, I can. When Metagross went down after one earthquake, I was genuinely confused. I thought this would never be enough to KO, but as I always say, just take the win and move on. Of course the run was a bit compromised because of the Sword Sense action, but I actually think that it would be not only possible, but maybe even easier to go without. The setup was always a bit stressful and many things could go wrong. Of course, it let me go through the game on a way lower level, but one mistake, one status move, one miss, and the fight would be lost. I think I should not use Sword Sense style boosting abilities in the future if I can avoid them, but what do you think about it? Please let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you want to see more Pokemon runs in the future. Have a nice day and I see you in the next one.